Welcome to Legacy Realty. I'm Paul.
I'm Hair.
And today we have something very exciting for you. This is gonna be all the main launches of Q1 2026. So it's gonna be 8 projects coming up. And these 8 will split into 2 portions. Part 1 are all the launches that we already have the information launching all the way up to March. And part 2 are all the land that was already sold and awarded to a developer, and then we will actually be breaking down using URA master plan. How is it going to look like? What is the plans over there as well?
So I promise you, we have studied and you will definitely take something home today because this deck that we have done up for you is concise and precise.
Correct. Without further ado, we'll proceed on to the first project, Narra Residences.
You look at the location over here, the next thing you will notice is actually the mall beside already. Then of course, we have the most recent launch in the area, which is Botany. Then GESS is actually quite a well-known European school in the vicinity. As you can see over here, there are 2 bidders and Santari actually won the bid at 1020 PSF per plot ratio. So if I can bring back in time, Botany is actually 980.
So you're talking about almost same land price as
yeah,
something.
it's almost the same.
About 3 years ago already.
Yeah, and this is post-harmonized. Botany is pre-harmonized.
Correct.
So in terms of Narra Residences, it's definitely a residential development, but it comes with 4 shops over here. Targeted preview is at around January 17, 2026.
This is gonna be the first one coming up. Botany transactions. Because this is something almost same land price, potentially almost similar launch price. But at the same time, what is the price already transacting at? So if you can notice, this is something from 20 February. All these transactions are already hitting in at 2001 per square feet for a pre-harmonized unit. And in terms of price trend, it has been hovering around at the 2000 per square feet price mark. So now we're talking about Dairy Farm Residences. Mind you, this is the one with commercial unit.
So as you can see, Dairy Farm Residences, they have TOP a few years ago. So definitely they have passed the SSD.
All the 936, if you see, of course, compared to the smaller units, the returns is usually a little bit lesser. They are actually transacting about 16% returns in 3 years and 11 months time. If you're selling a 3-bedder, 1.8 million, profit 258,000, it looks like a small amount. If you think about it, back then they probably purchased it at 1.5, which means a 3 to 400,000 down payment. And in 3 years plus, even selling at 250,000, we remove all the commissions, all the fares and fees, you're probably getting back almost 40% return on equity.
Of course, if we take a look at the bigger unit size over here, like the 1003 unit, 1004 unit, we will be looking at a much higher annualized return.
And it's $500,000 profit, in just 4 years time. Why we actually bring up these numbers is to realize that in the Dairy Farm estate itself, it's gonna be a place, that people are gonna focus on own stay. For this reason itself, the 4-bedders are actually very top pick. If you look at the numbers for the smaller units, you are not getting the kind of returns. So if you're advising our clients, to come and see this location, at least go for a 3-bedder. Site plan is here already. It's going to be 3 rows of buildings. First one facing the north unblock. Of course, this plot is a residential plot. It might come up with a new building. So this is not unblock view for a long-term period. So, what do you think is a good price?
Considering that the last few units of Botany, they actually hit 23XX. So I would think for this location, anything below 22XX.
Buying to something almost 3 years ago pricing. It's a
Mm.
very safe bet. But of course, when we look at profile like this, we wouldn't recommend a very investment-based buy. Someone that wants to live inside, still earn capital appreciation, and at a very reasonable pricing, you get a pretty big space. So this will be for our first project. Now go to the second project. We'll be going through
River Modern.
So located at River Valley Green. Here, this is the River Valley plot, River Modern. This is River Green, right beside River MRT. And if you notice over here, there's 2 plots over here.
That will be Promenade Peak and Zion Grand.
And over here itself, this will be your Great World Shopping Center. If you notice this plot over here, what is this? This is
River Valley Primary School.
Right smack over here, you got this entire river facing unit. You can almost consider this River Valley Primary School's boarding house. If you are staying along this road that's facing up north, you look down, you can see your kid crossing the road right into the school.
So in terms of land bid, you can see that it's still getting a lot of interest from the developer. We have 5 bidders over here. The winner is Quaco Land, 1,420 PSF per plot ratio. So if you have known Quaco Land, their recent launches like Springleaf, Faber, Residences, they are wiped out like nobody's business.
So for them to come in here to CCR,
it's a whole new game changer.
And this is going to be interesting because we are trying to use this to compete and compare against the previous launches like River Green, Promenade Peak, Zion Grand. And what actually let it stands out apart from them?
It's residential with commercial at level 1. Also slightly mixed. I wouldn't say it's a full-blown mix because it's only one level of commercial. So in terms of River Valley record land prices, you can see that we actually lay down the previous launches. So Martin Modern, they actually bought the land at 1239, Riviere at 1733.
Almost all the same place, We're talking about 5 years later. Your land price is only 1.4. This is 1,700 3 years ago. So back then, right, there was a lot of claims on in terms of CCR projects.
Yes.
But all the launch prices are all at this kind of range. From what we understand, right, why the land prices in CCR right now is a lot lower is because some developers, they are losing a little bit of confidence in CCR region because of the ABSD. In the past, River Valley or even CCR, majority are actually foreign buyers. But once they remove this, right, and did this 60% ABSD, a lot of people are not looking to buy into CCR. And now, we have a new phase coming up. We started from River Green, we started from PP, Zhang Grand. They start to do up sizes that's a lot smaller, a lot more efficient, and have the price quantum way more competitive. So even moving forward, right now we got all these other launches. All these are 1,008 per square feet per plot ratio. In the past CCR, you can't even see 1,004. This is considered very cheap, very attractive. All these old projects, right, you can never get a 3-bedroom, right, below $3 million.
That size.
It's always at least 3.5 to 4 because it's all freehold. When we talk about these kind of prices, right, we want to talk about transactions. First example, a well hill. So we did talk about it. Land price was so much higher. It's transacted to a higher asking price, higher launch price. And if you look at the prices, right, this is a recent transactions all the way from August.
3,209.
We got the 3-beders. Even though it was 861, right? In fact, I would say a well hill was the first in the area that tried to do very efficient layout. In the past, it's a little bit of a taboo. People always say River Valley, one big size unit, you have big floor plate.
But coincidentally, this 861 reminds me of the layout that Guaco did for Faber and Springleaf. Oh, the 861 is a 3 plus flexi. So this is the beauty of a reputable developer. And also, we have already seen that 861 is very well accepted in the River Valley area already.
In 4 years' time, right, it makes a 20% return. We probably bought 2.1 mil.
This is a very healthy figure, in fact.
So that 400k profit. So if you talk about in terms of return on equity, right, we're going for about 50 to 60% returns. So as an investor, it's a pretty good deal.
And they are pre-harmonized.
Correct.
So River Modern is going to be post-harmonized.
So if you remember, 1,800 per plot ratio, land price. They are one of the projects in the area that actually still went with the regular River Valley kind of layout. So we got our 3-bedder at 1,173. And if you look at the most recent transactions, right, it actually went to 3.35 million, 2,009 per square feet as well. Pre-harmonized, 99-year leasehold.
Mixed development.
Correct. And you'll be surprised that even such thing is a 5th floor unit. And it actually got a 20% return in 3 years plus as well. Of course, being a higher quantum, right, having a percentage like this, we are talking about maybe close to about 50%, 60% return on equity as well. This shows that in this area, in River Valley, right, people are willing to pay for this, even as a resale. Recently launched in 2025, we are talking about what is remaining. Of course, we don't talk about Ritz Carlton. We talk about River Green. These are all the 3-beders in the market. We talk a bit more of 3-beders, right? Because it's actually the most popular kind of choices in this area now. River Green, right? Only 4 units left, and these are all 3,500, 3,600 per square feet already.
High floor units. Right?
And Promenade Peak and even Zion Grand, right? We're talking about 3,001, 3,002. And these are the 1,000 over square feet, 3-bedroom, going up over $3 million easily.
You can see these 3 launches, right, in the River Valley area, right? They are the first that kickstart the small layouts the small. In fact, our 4-bedroom for River Valley, it actually stands up to 980 square feet.
And when it first launched, right, it was very controversial. Why would people buy River Valley?
But end of the sell ping ping piang piang.
Correct. Right? So end of the day, 3-bedroom, it started at 2.5 million. 2.5 million, you could stay a 3-bedroom at River Valley area. When 2.5 million, you probably could even buy Toa Payoh. So these are the reason why sometimes, right, you start to notice that people sometimes focus on the location. Size, as long as the layout is livable,
makes sense,
is efficient, they are willing to go for it. What is a good buy for River Morton, right? Being the 4th plot in the past 1 year.
I would think that because this is also slightly on a higher rise building, I would think that they will start from low lah, just like how the rest of the developers strategize. Anything below 3,000, right, is actually a good buy already.
It will definitely be a very different kind of project
to
River Green, which usually focus on very small layout, very high investment-centric kind of buyers, right? We got PP and we got Zion Grand that is a little bit bigger size layout, right? So more traditional heartlands, bigger space kind of layout as well. So coming in over here, you got a full river facing, you got a closest to River Valley Primary School. If you can get below 3,000, right, when the remainings are already 3,500, 3,200, I think it's going to be a very, very good buy.
Okay, next one is Newport. This is actually the former Fuji Xerox Towers. They actually got bought over by CTL. They're supposed to launch in 2023, in fact, but they're gonna slapped by this ABSD ruling. So they decided to keep this project on hold until now. So actually the layout has been out for a very long time already.
It's going to be a singular building, right?
So now the target preview is actually in January 2026. This is 1 burner. Okay.
Right opposite Newport only, actually. And it's a 99-year. These are all new launch prices. It's going to TOP soon. I want you to notice all this size, right? I actually really focus on this 700 square feet kind of setup. Reason being, right, because you can see Newport itself, the 2-bedders are also around this size. So these are good comparison, especially if you're someone looking here, right, for investment. Due to it being CBD area, you're gonna have a lot of pool or rental. And at 700 square feet, this will be the smaller 2-bedder, running about 2,500 per square feet, 1.8 million. And this one, I want you to take note for that because we'll compare against a few other projects over there, and also potentially what Newport's prices could be as well. Sky Suites is another one right beside as well. If you notice, the 2-bedders similarly, you got 667, 700 square feet kind of range. This is about 2,000, 2,002 per square feet. This is 10-year older.
Yeah, but if you notice for developments that is located in District 2, they are very heavily on the smaller bedroom types.
Very targeted at getting investors and all that stuff. Especially in the past, it's a lot targeted at foreigners buying to rent out to have a project or a property within Singapore itself.
Yes.
So now we go to rental transactions, focusing primarily on the 2-bedders. What kind of rental are you getting? So Sky Suite, like we previously referred to, you're getting back about 4,008 for the 600 to 700 square feet units, and also for the 600 to 700 square feet unit, you got 5.3k.
So you can see actually in terms of the PSF, right, the rental units over here are doing well, I would say.
Correct.
So I think this is why investors are drawn into this area, because the rental yield in fact is very good.
Other than that, of course, we also have 76 Shenton. These are a little bit smaller developments nearby. As time progresses, right, newer projects are always more and more efficient. If you put a 900 to 1,000 square feet 2-bedders, right, you'll be surprised that the modern day 2-bedders, right, might almost have a similar layout or similar usage of the space. So these on the high end, it can get you 7,000. On the lower end, you actually can get you about 6,000. And for Newport, we actually have a 710 square feet 2 bedrooms, right? We might be expecting a similar kind of rental within this range. End of the day, a project is really about what price you enter. When we see 2,009 per square feet for 1 Burnham, almost sold out already. We see a freehold on average, right, is about 15 to 20% premium on a 99-year within the same location. So that will run up to a 3,001 per square feet in terms of what we consider a little bit form of intrinsic value. And if you can get it around that range, right, I would say that would be a good buy. But of course, a project like this had to factor in the fact that it's a statement piece. We're talking about singular high floor unit, right? Freehold in the middle of CBD. There might be some premium to that. End of the day, this is something for you to own self consider. What would be a good choice for you and your family, right? Is this something you want to hold as an investment choice? Is it something you want to hold for 20, 30, 40 years? Legacy planning, whereby a freehold comes into play very importantly. And if you want to know more, reach out to us similarly. We can actually go through a more breakdown in terms of what is a really interesting price.
Okay,
so Pinery Residences, downtown line, from my understanding, is going to be 5 stops to Expo and 11 stops to town. If you guys know, downtown line is actually one of the most efficient and fastest line.
Fastest and the longest line.
11 stop, actually we did our research, right? On the map itself, it shows 34 minutes. That's if you suddenly just teleport inside. We say 40 minutes, 45 minutes to get to town. When you're also 10 minutes to 15 minutes away from airport, it's going to be a very good spot.
So for Pinery, right, it is said that, right, there is actually an underground connection that leads you directly to Tampines West. Pinery itself, right, it is a mixed development also. Okay, there is more. It's going to be located in the development itself. We have early childcare development center as well, then community plaza, all in one.
This is a very, very, very popular land.
Contested land. You see, we have 6 bidders over here. Almost all of the prominent developers, right, actually came in to bid for this land. Toy Hub and Sunway actually won the bid at 1004 PSF per plot ratio. So this is actually the cheapest integrated land in 2026 itself. There's no reason why not to buy.
You have a very good space in terms of ability to appreciate and a space for next developments to come in at a higher price point as well. And why when you pull out Treasure at Tampines, right? This is very near to Tampines West, but at the same time,
not near the MRT.
And this is the most
biggest launch.
2,200 over units, right? In hindsight, it's almost like 5 projects launching at one time, right? In one development itself. And it is actually one of the best performing projects in the past 3-4 years. You got your 2-bedders making 30% returns.
Despite it being 2,002, means your competition, it will be heavy one.
Yeah, when it released in the market, there's a lot of units on the market.
And yet, you still get this kind of decent amount of appreciation. I would think that it's very healthy.
Go up to 915, this is probably a 3-bedroom, 31% in 4 years. You go up to the bigger ones, probably the 4-bedders at 1,200 square feet, is 40% return. All green. Everything is all
8%, 7%.
And you must remember, every time we say about 7% return, right, we always like to say it according to your equity. What is the real number or real deposit and price down payment that put into the property? Most importantly, I want you to focus on this chart. We show you, right, this is the most colorful chart. You got the entire cluster of transactions, right, during COVID itself, right? You have 2,200 units all sold within a 2-year time frame. 1,003, 1,004 per square feet. Maybe back then it was a very fearful market, right? Some people might actually be worried about, hey, can we enter or not? But it was so attractive because people are buying due to necessity. Because there's no project that was really launched in the past 10 years until Treasure Tampines.
Back then, during COVID, timing, or in fact the timing that they launched is also the record pricing in Tampines itself.
Correct. If you look at back then, right, City Life, you talk about
Correct,
Tampines, 1,002, 1,001
cheap.
maybe. And this is
Yeah.
1,004, 1,005, some people getting in at 1,006,
1,006.
you know. And in 2021, that is actually quite a high price.
Yeah.
Moving forward, once it started TOP, right, you can see the amount of transactions that are actually happening in the past
Building
2
the
years.
valuation.
Correct. It means that, right, even though there's so many units for sale, there's still so many buyers entering back into the market. Why? They just MOP from their project, right? And it's a pretty new estate in terms of all these projects and BTOs coming up.
So that is the reason why the surrounding of the development is
Correct.
important. Imagine they buy the Tampines flat at what?
Yeah.
400,000-500,000. They sell at what? 800,000.
9,000.
Wow, the bullet to upgrade.
$500,000 or even more in cash. The rest on, let's say, loan, right? They can buy 2.2, 2.3, 2.4 million very comfortably.
Easily. Tampines West itself, the surrounding, right? We have about 4,000 BTOs waiting to MOP in the next 3 to 4 years time frame.
Parktown, right? Similarly, a very big development, right? Which also just almost sold out so far, right?
This is a very comparable development because it is also integrated. It's just that it's a very different part of Tampines. This is located at Tampines North, whereby Pinery is located at Tampines West.
Correct.
For Parktown, right? Okay, we are looking at a whole new township over there. A lot of BTOs have not yet MOP, and it's not exactly the most mature part of Tampines yet.
Last few units sold out at about 2,003, 2,004 per square feet. And I want you to notice one thing. 4-bedroom, 1,500 square feet. Somebody is willing to pay 3.4 million for a brand new Tampines project.
Pinery is also within 1 km of St. Hilda's. In the absence of St. Hilda's, right, they are already transacting at this kind of price range.
Correct.
Yeah, so this is a very amazing factor.
We pull out this Parktown transaction and purchase it profile, right? If you notice, 56% is actually private property owner. Not just HDB upgraders, natural
Is
upgrade,
buying
right?
into Parktown.
All those condos in the area. City Life, a little bit on the western area, right, of Tampines. We talk about Arc at Tampines, Santorini. They all bought in about 10 years ago and actually make a very heavy profit rate. Which
despite not being near the MRT as well.
So these are also people that also look to move back into the Tampines region. And because of that, we want to bring up to you Tampines Trillions transaction prices. And these are one of the most beautiful, beautiful green charts you can see. If you take note, right, a ground floor unit $1.8 million, 1,400 plus per square feet would already give him $1 million profit. These kind of sellers, right, it's going to exit with about 1.3 to 1.4 million in cash and CPF. Comfortably, if their loan allows, if they are working class, usually, especially if it's both husband and wife are working, right, they can actually loan up to $3 million very comfortably. Which means a 3.4 million property, right, is not too far of a stretch for a buyer like this. Same thing, the second one like this, 1.25 million in cash.
Essentially, this is what we always call the property swap basis. You swap for an older property into a newer property, or in fact, into 2 properties. So this is the sums that we need to calculate for you, whether is it correct, or is a correct move.
And you just repeat that again for another 13 years, 12 years, right? Another $1 million, $2 million. So that's what actually a lot of people do when they try to flip property in this way. So what price do you think is going to be a good buy?
Okay, I think they will launch almost about the same pricing as Parktown. Or in fact, because we are in a much better location, much better part of Tampines, I would think that they will average out at 23XX. Anything that is below 23XX is a snap buy. But of course, anything that is higher, then you need to see what is the time horizon and what is the purpose of buying.
And of course, coming up next, right, it's going to be even more exciting because we're going to go through Rebel, which is EC that's right beside over here.
It's just here.
And it's a good comparison and why we believe actually Revel might be one of the best EC launch in the past.
Recent years.
In the recent 3 years, might be the best. So we'll see you in the next episode.
Stay tuned.